Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Simple Markets channel. My name is JB, and today we're going to be going over October of 2025. We're going to talk a bit about how I performed. We can probably go over every trade I took. I had a very slow month in October. We'll talk about why it was a slower month for me, as well as some reasons I feel like that led to lower market volatility. But first and foremost, taking a look at my overall data here, we could see the win rate holding strong at about 38% this year, using, of course, that fixed 3RR that we use per trade, and closing in on about 92% this year, which we are closing in on essentially doubling the account from the initial starter value. Once again, keeping in mind, as I've mentioned in past videos, I have withdrawn from my balance throughout the year periodically, so it's not directly this value in my Forex broker. But nonetheless, for example purposes, I did not want huge dips in my equity curve based on value, so I decided to keep it this way so you can see a slow and consistent growth throughout the year. We're sitting at about 49 RR total, and if we actually scroll down to October here, you guys can see I had a fairly slow month overall, with just about 9 trades that I took, and 5 of those were losers, and 3 of those were winners, netting me about 4 RR in total for this month. I did also have these 2 break-even trades in here that would have concluded at a positive 3 RR each, which does come into play and actually skew this value a lot closer, that break-even rule versus without. I've been having a really weird Excel glitch this morning where if I double-click a column, it freezes up the screen and the whole thing shuts down. That's why you're seeing version 1 auto-recovered here. Hopefully it doesn't happen during this video and I can get through the recording without it, and hopefully we can click on these links properly. But the first thing I do want to touch upon, I was away in October for a small portion of it in the beginning of it, so that is why we see this fairly large gap here between the 1st and the 8th. I returned and got back in my flow of trading, and as you can see here, a good amount of days in a row, I had some good positions. And then beyond that, a pretty slow month for me overall. Now, the first thing I will say is currently I am from the United States and we are having a government shutdown here, and actually the longest one historically at the moment. I'm not 100% sure on the exact length of it, but I believe we're going on or at about a month of government shutdown. And it essentially means that a lot less funding from the government is going to be put into something like the foreign exchange market. We will see that lessened volatility that we saw throughout the month of October, a lot lower volume, especially on our USD pairs. So that could partially contribute to this lower volume month. However, no excuses for myself. Now, as I mentioned, I'm about 4 RR positive this month, which for me is fantastic. However, let's take a look at the community and see how we did. So hopping over here, we had a student, Haroon. He asked right at the end of October, how did everyone perform? He was up 11 RR, which is absolutely insane. Keep in mind, guys, this is literally like 20% of my year's returns just in this month alone. He had a crazy good month. And then the rest of the community started funneling in. We have 6R, 5R, another 12R, his best month ever from Big Mac. He actually got funded this month and has his personal trading capital that he's using as well. We have a 7R, an 8R, a 7R, a 6R, 4R, 14, which is also ridiculous. Nice break-even month, same as last, so he said he's taking it as a win. And then we have 2R, 9R, 5R. The list literally goes on. The community absolutely smashed it this month. So many people getting funded, passing accounts, and as well as on their personal capital. And even a good conversation this morning, a lot of members were talking about switching over or adding on platforms that essentially build their track record for private capital in the future. Huge moves from the community, super proud of everyone. They smashed it this month. And I also wanted to show this off for you guys to understand that although, yes, I am the mentor here at Simple Markets, and yes, I am the one who posts these YouTube videos, that does not mean I am the best or even the most profitable trader within this community. I can humbly say I am not the best trader in my community, and I think that's kind of an important thing as a mentor to understand. We gave a lot of them the blueprint, the strategy, and the coaching to be consistent, and many of them have taken that and run with it further than I have myself. So many people here leveraging prop firms, which I do not use. A lot of other people building track records for private capital. And I really want to push that across to help you guys understand that yes, what you are seeing on my journal is my results, but I want you guys to understand there's a whole community behind me absolutely crushing it month after month based on the teachings that we offer and the strategy that we use and the guidance from, of course, the 3 different coaches that we have. The sky really is the limit, guys. Don't sit here and think that, oh, JB made 4R, I should have made 4R. We will pop back over here to my journal and start looking through trades one by one. And the first one we will pop open here is NZD CAD. It doesn't get much more straightforward than this. We have a clean break of structure here to the downside. I marked out my range with my highlighter tool as always. We have a good fair value gap here around the entry and just a sweep of liquidity of all this consolidation, following that really bearish volume that we're seeing in the market, and we end up getting stopped out here. Perfect example for me where a picture perfect trade scenario can get stopped out. I even have an identical pound USD trade that I compared to this one, and it is the exact same thing from earlier in the year. really just going to show and drive home that point of probabilities and understanding that, yes, I could have gone with some crazy intricate higher time frame, multi-time frame bias, and maybe I avoided this one trade, but the simplicity and consistency of being able to follow a trading plan on a singular time frame, limiting the complexity and not having that feeling after every trade that something could have been done better, I promise guys, it'll carry you in the long run. If you are the trader who looks at this trade and has a tendency to say, well, JB, the higher time frame was definitely bullish right there, or JB, that sweep on liquidity really wasn't that good, and of course, based on the time of day that your trade entry tapped into, we are in this certain kill zone session that obviously is going to show a reversal in the market. Guys, let's calm down. Let's take a step back, look at your trading plan, and if that complication comes into play after every single trade, understand that you will continuously be in that cycle of editing. After every trade that you take, a new rule will come into place. If I listened to the naysayers, I would sit here and go, you know what, you're right, that kill zone session happened right when I got tapped into this entry. That's definitely the reason I lost. I'm going to add a new rule to my trading plan that says if my entry is closed during that kill zone, delete the order. These are the types of mistakes that longer term a lot of you traders are making, and I just give this kind of goofy example for hopefully some of you to get what I'm trying to say here, or the point I'm trying to get across. And next, we will hop over here to my first winner of the month. Once again, super basic here. We have a sweep on liquidity of this general consolidation. We're seeing these higher highs and higher lows after kind of breaking this high as well as breaking this previous high. I saw a good fair value gap here, so once again, just highlighter tool on there, throw the fib on, and I got tapped in. We did consolidate for quite a while on this trade and then eventually ran those market highs, netting me a 3 RR on the account, or just under a 6% gain. Next up is AUD/USD. We're just working with a fairly bearish range here, just seeing price work its way lower. We consolidated for quite a while, but I saw the sweep on liquidity here, the break of structure, the fair value gap. I got tapped into this one, super aggressively reached my risk-free level at this dotted line here. And then you can see we ran right back up and took me out at break even, despite eventually running that 3 RR right after. Lots of short-term volatility here in these huge candles, but this netted me just about a little over 0% on my account, so no harm, no foul. Next up here, we have a simple play on AUD Chef. Same kind of idea. We're seeing these higher highs and higher lows form. Looking at that overall bullish trend, price formed another break of structure to the upside. I throw my highlighter tool on there. We see the fair value gap, and I got absolutely destroyed on this one by a news event. I did slip a little bit on my live broker as well, taking a little bit more than that 2% that was expected, but nonetheless a great trade for me. Follow the rules. So on to the next. And the next trade we have here. Now this one was definitely a bit of an odd range for me, but I really did just want to align with that higher time frame bullish range we saw. In my opinion, all of this was kind of just ugly noise and volume in the markets, no clear ranges, and even the break of structure that I took here wasn't the clearest range. But the thing that really made me execute on this was that big aggressive break of structure, showing that we could be back on that bullish side of the market, destroying that previous high and this consolidation area. But once again, I saw the sweep, the break, the large fair value gap. I mark out my range with the highlighter tool, throw the fib on there, and another 3 RR gain. My second winner for the month of October. Now quickly combing through some more here, we have a Euro AUD short. We could very clearly see the bearish trend here, lower lows and lower highs being formed. We break structure to the downside. We have the fair value gap. I went for the trade, and once again, that aggressive event that we talked about ended up ripping through that stop loss there. Now, this was an event related to tariffs in the United States, but of course, when something that large is announced, although it is rare, we could see these huge 4-hour time frame movements. For those of you on the lower time frame in any sort of short positions, this could literally blow your entire account. It's one of the reasons why I say the 4-hour time frame or higher time frames is typically safer from a leverage perspective. And of course, to notice as well, this isn't even a USD pair, and we still saw this rip through my stop loss with quite an aggressive movement and high volume, going to show that interconnection that obviously all of these currencies have related to the US dollar. Now, next up here, pretty basic as well, we see this bullish trend kind of forming with the higher highs and the higher lows. I see the break of structure, the fair value gap. I throw my fib on there. And in this scenario, I actually did end up taking the break even because this here was enough to wick my break even level, and my trade assistant on my live broker ended up taking the spread on top of this candle here, wicking me out and setting my stop loss to break even. Once again, not really an issue for me. It's happened plenty times before. It is just part of the game. And then it takes me out here at break even for no loss, and then it eventually does go and run that 3 RR. Next up here, pretty simple and basic short position. Now we broke this low overall, and we're starting to see another lower low form. We have a fair value gap here, a sweep on liquidity. Now the break overall wasn't that great for me. When I saw these initial candles here with the wick, I didn't have it set. And then eventually price came back down again and below that low, so I went and set the order there. And price worked its way up and in, had some deep drawdown here for a minute, and then very quickly went and ran that 3 RR. The next trade up here is NZD JPY. We had a short position, just once again following those lower lows and lower highs. We swept liquidity of this high here. We broke structure to the downside. Huge fair value gap right around my entry level. And then this one tapped me in. We kind of consolidated there for quite a while and then eventually did run that overall high, taking out my stop loss. And last but not least here, we have a short position on USD Chef. Now this one's a little bit aggressive for me, although I did see all of my rules met, so I went for it. I saw the sweep on liquidity of this general consolidation. I saw the very aggressive break of structure to the downside, kind of following that bearish momentum. Huge fair value gap right around my entry level there, and we tapped into this one, and once again, a low and slow crawl towards stop loss here, eventually taking me out at that -1 RR. All of these trades combining together for what we showed is that 4 RR gain this month, and of course contributing overall to that equity curve. As we can see, there is a nice slow climb here right above all-time highs that we just kind of passed within this week. Working our way up, about to reach that 100% threshold for this year using 2% risk, of course. I hope you guys appreciated this review of October. I hope you guys killed it this month too. If anybody is interested in joining the community, you know it is in the description below. You can click on our website and find information there, or shoot me a DM on Discord. I'm happy to talk about it. If you have any questions that come up after this video, shoot me a DM on Discord. I can answer them and share resources that might help out. It can be any question, trading related, or even lifestyle, fitness, whatever it is. You know, I like reaching out and interacting with my subscribers. Thank you all for watching. Once again, hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I will see you guys next Monday.